Coming up, I take a fond look back on how I wrote a song about nostalgia and how it then managed to win a song contest. This is not a case of this is how I did it, more than is that how I did it? Because whatever I did, it apparently worked. Hello there. In May 2021, the CheapShow comedy podcast ran the second Urinevision Song Contest, following the success of the previous year's event in substituting for the pandemic hit Eurovision Song Contest. This time around, I had an idea for a song and decided to enter, despite having never properly written, recorded and sung a song before. I've always loved music, but I can only play a keyboard so much, and my only music qualification is GCSE Grade B. I effectively sent my entry to answer the question, is this anything? Does this sound like something I should be doing? I faithfully watched the ceremony live on Twitch to see if I'd made the shortlist, and I yelled yes when Nostalgia's Gonna Get You appeared as the 9th song out of 13, meaning my work would now be judged by a panel of 13 comedians, actors and singers, and I would find out if I had embarrassed myself or not. I remember trying to keep count of the scoring, realising part of the way through that, oh, I'm in 4th place, I'm in 3rd place, and then I lost count. I didn't get the minimum 2 points until the end, but only got the maximum 5 points twice, so I didn't know what to think. But that wasn't the end of it.
The winner of Urinevision 2021 is Nostalgia's Gonna Get You by Leigh Spence. Well done. Well done. It was a close fought battle. I can tell you, in 2nd place was turning towards perfection.
Yeah! I was devastated. I genuinely was not prepared for this outcome, especially after hearing the other entries, songs like Down at the Spoff and Pickle by Ukulele John and Piss Crystals by LJ Goody, thinking how much more they fit the themes and energy of Cheap Show as a podcast, and how much more professionally recorded the other songs sounded, at least to me. I do remember feeling incredibly confident for a while after submitting my song, but that was me thinking, wow, I made a thing, not I'm gonna win this thing. So thank you to Cheap Show for putting on a great show and for the lovely shirt I won, featuring art by their in-house artist Tony Voroff, and thank you to everyone for all the nice things they said, both during the contest and online afterwards. Before I go any further, I implore you to listen to Cheap Show, as it is a great podcast and one I have written about at length. Hosted by real Ghostbuster Paul Gannon and Pickle of Destiny Eli Silverman, Cheap Show rummages through the charity shops, the bargain bins, the thrift stores, the flea markets, the pound shops and record bins of the known world to give you the treasure amongst the trash. It also has its own tie-in magazine and merchandise, which may itself be the subject of future discussion in another generation's podcast. It is an absurdist comedy machine with an enjoyably filthy mouth on it, like Derek and Clive meets Blue Peter on the bus home from a night at the Cabaret Voltaire. It is a magazine show. You may have board games and charity shop finds one week, novelty records and weird soft drinks another week, celebrity guests or an audio drama with mad characters the week after. It's great that there is a podcast I can download each week and not know what form it is going to take, other than in minutes and seconds, and you need to cherish something like that if you find it. And so, in order to explain Nostalgia's Gonna Get You, I must play it to you first, using the lyric video I created previously. I'll be back with you in a moment. I need that good time feeling just like back in the day, when the real problems of the world were kept far away. I can wallow in my childhood games and pop music sounds, or the films that I was too young for the first time around. If ontology is your pathology, then nostalgia's gonna get you, nostalgia's gonna get you. My local shopping centre is where I want to be, though they whitewashed the pastel decor back in '93. That vape shop once sold games on tape for my Spectrum Plus, and the discount supermarket used to be Toys R Us. If your kind of place is a liminal space, then nostalgia's gonna get you, nostalgia's gonna get you. The man from the Prue, still alive. Atlantic 252, still alive. The Polaris subs, still alive. The Burger King Kids Club, still alive. The Naked Gun, still alive. Pebble Millet 1, still alive. Quattro Soda, still alive. Derrida, still alive. Findus Crispy Pancakes, still alive. The rhythm of the nightly news makes me think that I've been living in the alternate 1985. Tomorrow's world is cancelled, so please don't have a cow. The greatest hits of yesteryear will do for you now. Don't take a stand till you reach for that landfill. Nostalgia's gonna get you, nostalgia's gonna get you. I should say the reason I'm playing the recording instead of singing it live is because singing at my limit is a mountain to climb, so I broke the lyrics up and sang 2 lines at a time and edited it together. On the night of the contest, I did like how the presenters visualised the songs by using puppets. The Naked Gun, still alive. Pebble Millet 1, still alive. Quattro Soda, still alive. Derrida, still alive. Findus Crispy Pancakes, still alive. Here are some of the reactions from the judges.
Leigh Spence, Nostalgia's Gonna Get You, cracking work, Leigh. A real sense of the 80s coming through there. The synth was fantastic. The lyrics clearly match that spirit of the 80s by referencing things like Quattro. You know, I really like this.
Well, what can I say? I was hearing New Order, Pet Shop Boys, Electronic, Gas, Water, Raging Tinnitus, and the voices in my head.
Got Leigh Spence, Nostalgia's Gonna Get You. Fuck me, it was good. Again, it was a bit too similar to like not too similar. That's not fair. So you've scored high. I just couldn't bring myself to give you the top prize. Not when Irish Jimmy's jig is like floundering away right down there in the doldrums.
Leigh takes us on a contemporary journey back in time. Remember the 90s? Yes. Remember the 80s? Also yes. And so does Leigh. Here in this catchy song, nostalgia did get me, and it was nice to hear Pebble Mill get another mention here too.
I had no idea what half of those things were because I'm not British, so I was like, oh, okay, well, clearly that was a thing to the person listening to this song. So I think I was not quite enough in the target audience for that song, although I am a sucker for in the bass synth octaves that go do 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 do. Love that. I use it all the time. I think it's awesome.
I want to see the music video to this immediately, and I want to be in that video too. Listen to it, it'll make you happy, especially if you grew up in the 80s and 90s when the world was better.
If you can pay for it, you can be my guest. I will say the response that made me happy immediately though was from co-host on the night, Ash Frith.
Who performed that?
Yeah.
Who performed that? That was amazing.
I'm going to play that again.
Who performed that?
Yeah.
Who performed that? That was amazing.
There was only one rule for the Urinevision Song Contest. Your song had to be between 1 and 2 minutes long. How I interpreted this was that I would need to fit as much song as I possibly could into 2 minutes, working out how many bars of 4/4 time I can get when using 120 beats per minute divided by 2 bars per line. Rather than entirely sounding like a maths exercise, my favourite Eurovision song, Ding a Dong by Teachin, which won for the Netherlands in 1975, clatters along at such a pace that it doesn't need all of the 3 minutes it was allowed. At the same time, Tony Christie's song Avenues and Alleyways, the theme to the TV drama The Protectors, doesn't have a chorus as such. Christie sings, "In the avenues and alleyways," a second time, followed by an entirely new set of lyrics. Therefore, aside from a short intro and outro, I have 3 whole verses, a vast middle section to list nostalgic things, and exclaim nostalgia's gonna get you. I've only since realised that I unintendedly wrote na 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 nostalgia's gonna get you. The music itself is kept very simple, performed in C# major to stretch to what should be out of reach, and to sing just slightly out of my range as I found out. But I deliberately chose instruments that evoke the 1980s. A drum machine, synth chords, and a synth bass that jumped up and down by 1 octave to fill the sound. Far cheaper than spending a few £1,000s on the real thing, Apple's Bandcamp lets you pick a Lindrum, one of the first sample-based drum machines, and the machine most associated with Prince from 1999 to Purple Rain, with When Doves Cry essentially being a Linn drum featuring Prince. What also helps is that if you choose the right drums, you can make a pattern that sounds like a clock. The chords were played on my Yamaha Reface DX, a proper FM synthesizer like the original DX7, replicating the original electric piano 1 setting with the same glassy sounds that characterises the era, as Yamaha sold thousands of DX7s to musicians who, apart from Brian Eno, used the same 32 built-in patches from piano to bass, from brass to marimba, because it was too hard to program. I am absolutely happy to be compared to them, but I must admit I was initially perplexed by the comparison to Squeeze made by co-host and TV writer Paul Rose, aka Mr. Biffo.
We haven't used that one yet.
I liked how Call for Cats-esque it was.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's exactly.
A bit of Squeeze, isn't it? A little bit of Squeeze.
It was a bit of a Squeeze. Squeeze and a bit Depeche Mode as well.
Yeah, it certainly went.
My only reason for this was my having been so focused and influenced during this process by the 80s-ist artist of them all, and a recurring name on CheapShow, Phil Collins. Yes, I own the sheet music to the No Jacket Required album, and that does say Susudio at the top. What happened was I was listening to a local radio station, Wave 105, on a Sunday morning, and after they played a jingle, there was silence, almost like they fell off air. When a song eventually started, it was the dum-da-da-dum clap of Take Me Home, played on a Roland TR-909, followed by, yes, chords played on a Yamaha DX7. Having since bought this album on CD, I think Only You Know and I Know may be one of the catchiest songs ever devised, even more than Susudio, but what I did find were the demos that Phil Collins made of his songs. They are simply a drum machine, a DX7, and his singing almost in tongues to get the melody and energy down before writing the lyrics. It's basically the equivalent of me going and so on. The simplicity of these demos was what I decided to go with in my finished song, but while I wrote the lyrics, I did have the sound of the Phil Collins demos in my head. In terms of the lyrics, I intended to use my 3 verses to build up into a preposterous situation. Start with giving into nostalgia, followed by something weird, then complete all-consuming hysteria. Instead of the greatest hits of yesteryear will do for you now, it was originally because there's no hope for you now. However, I had the final line, don't take a stand till you reach for that landfill, from the start as a line that sounds utterly bizarre by itself, but entirely in context by the time you get to it. That is why I was happy for how one of the judges, Tom Mayhew, reacted to it.
And the lyrics are great, like, don't take a stand till you reach for that landfill. I think we should put that on a t-shirt, and people will say things like, ooh, what does that mean? I'll be like, shut up, it's obvious, mate. Obvious.
I felt that it was easy to refer to liminal spaces, hauntology and Jacques Derrida in the song, as they have all been discussed on CheapShow, although I didn't yet know that there was a song by Scritti Politti titled Jacques Derrida. Dead shopping malls are almost a genre of video on YouTube as people film walkthroughs of places that were once safe and busy, rendered eerie and empty by changing times. While they can be examples of places you have to pass through, but you don't think that you should be there, I think watching them might be my version of ASMR. Having said that, that vape shop once sold games on tape for My Spectrum Plus was the hardest line to condense and then sing. I only realised later that Sinclair made the computer branded as a Spectrum Plus because I was originally working down from Spectrum Plus 2. I also originally wrote once sold cassette games for My Spectrum Plus, proving you need to be as clear as you possibly can. This was why I had to change the line Bird's Eye Potato Waffles Still Alive, which I like, to Findus Crispy Pancakes Still Alive, which I hate. It has to be da-dum, 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 not dum-da. The middle section was always meant to be a list, but I then had to find items that were a stretch to be nostalgic about, like Polaris, which was Britain's nuclear deterrent at the time, maintaining a base in my hometown, but they then also had to rhyme with each other like The Naked Gun and Pebble Mill at 1, thanks to my pronunciation of one instead of one. By the way, I was meant to sing Didn't Die instead of Still Alive, until I had to sacrifice the alliteration when I realised I was singing die, die, die all the way through my song. My favourite verse is obviously the last one. Once I worked out how to talk about the monotonous rhythm of the nightly news, the alternate 1985 of Back to the Future Part 2 came to mind very quickly, an easy way to say what went wrong and retreat into the past. Tomorrow's World is cancelled both means exactly that, and the fact that the BBC's science show of that title ended in 2003, the same year that Concorde flew for the last time, as if our idea of what the future was, and where you would find it, had ended. If I had one regret with the song, it was not following Stephen Sondheim's rule of no half rhymes all the way through, having left sounds rhyming with around in the first verse. I think by that point I had to stop writing and put my pen down. The Urinevision Song Contest 2021 album is available to listen to and download on Bandcamp. I never expected to be found on the home of Vaporwave, so that is mind-blowing in itself. Entering the contest was the best thing I could have done. It has been the highlight of 2021 for me, and if I ever do anything as successful or as popular again, I will remember that it started with Nostalgia's Gonna Get You. It's as simple as that. What this experience also confirmed for me is that, within strict legal definitions, I can apparently sing. And I have music confirmed as one more outlet, one I intend on making much more of after completing a new opening and closing theme for this show. All I know for sure is this: if you enter your song into a contest and it moves someone to say,
Who performed that?
Yeah.
Who performed that? That was amazing.
you must be doing something right. Thank you for watching. Comment, like and subscribe to let me know what you think, and until next time, the Nostalgia Culture Crisis continues at www.leighspence.net, the new home for Dancing with the Gatekeepers.